Hello, I'm Dr. Russo. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my forum to sort of educate, and actually today, right now, I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit and talk about something that I find, very disturbing. I've been in the field for over 30 years now, and what I'm going to talk about is the distortion of the self-image, primarily because of social media and Zoom and all these other things, but primarily because of what people are doing to other people with fillers. And I can tell you this because when fillers first came out, 125 years ago when I was in practice, all we started treating were lips and nasolabial folds, and we made people that had huge lips and had monkey-like upper lips. And we didn't understand aging, we didn't understand restoring youthfulness, and we created people that didn't look normal. And as time has gone on, we've gotten better in terms of our understanding not only of rejuvenation, but where the losses are coming from. Because in my mind, you can't correct something until you understand what has happened to it, right? What has gone wrong? Where have we had our losses? And I think, a lot of people that I see who are being treated, and they post on Instagram and other social media venues, to me, they don't look natural. They don't look good. And I think we're creating, maybe monsters is too strong a term, but people that don't look natural, like aliens that are trying to look human, but just something about them that you look at and go, they're not normal. And I think many of the injectors are more like technicians. They come in and like fill her up, put some more units in or put some more filler in. And they're not being artistic. They're not looking at the artistry of what that patient's face looks like. So part of it is our fault, part of it is the patient's fault, but it really is more our fault because it falls incumbent upon us to educate the patient as to what will look good and what won't. And part of it is to get a photograph of the patient when they look their best, at whatever age that was, and understand where they had fullness, where they didn't have fullness. We don't want to overcorrect their cheeks because we're creating someone that never looked like that, right? So some people never had full cheeks. Some people always had thin faces. So why are we changing that? Why are we making their faces morph into something we want or we think is natural when it really isn't natural for that person? So I have a huge pet peeve about that. And so I think underdoing it and making someone look natural is way better than even overcorrecting them just a little bit. And I think we get carried away about it. And I'm particularly energized about this because I saw about 10 years ago in my practice when fillers were just kind of hitting their stride. I had some nurses in my office, and they would be able to get treated for free. The companies would give them products so they can try the products and talk to patients about them and sell the products, et cetera, et cetera. And the nurses were just treating each other for free, and all of a sudden, patients started coming into me and saying, Dr. Russo, not that your nurse is out of the room, I just want to tell you something. I don't want to look like her. I don't want lips like that. I don't want cheeks like that. And I was like, oh, hold on. I didn't treat them. That's not my aesthetic. But, if they're in your office and the patients will assume that you treated them or you at least agree with that aesthetic. So I had to have a big meeting with my staff. It's like, okay, we're overdoing it. You guys have to stop, right? Because I could see and the other patients could see that this wasn't normal, but when it's happening to you, you just think more is better. And I actually went through a significant period of time where I tried to analyze this, and I think I figured out exactly why this happens. When a patient comes in and they're like at baseline 0, and they know they're not happy, so they say, I've got volume loss here, my lips are too small, my cheeks, my chin, whatever it is, and you treat them, so they go up a little bit and they look better and they feel happy. Well, as time goes on, that product starts to go away. And when there's somewhere about 50% loss, the patient perceives that the entire syringe or 2 syringes or whatever amount you gave them is gone. We know it's not. We know scientifically there's still some there. But once you fill up a patient, all they then look for is loss. And as soon as there's enough loss for them to realize there's a loss, they think it's completely gone. So they come back and you fill them up again, then there's a little more loss. And then you fill them up again and there's a little more loss. So you're kind of walking them up this very strange staircase that's morphing them. But because it's happening slowly, like a dripping faucet, you don't think much about it. But when you come home and your sink is filled with water, you're like, oh my God, I've lost so much water. Or, oh my God, I put so much filler in that patient's face. So we have to take photos. We have to be very clear with the patient when they get to the point where they're full and say, you know what? I think we're okay there. I think if we put any more filler in your cheeks, for example, you're going to have an unnatural look. And your face is going to be out of proportion with the rest of you. So, I see this way too often where people are just treating lips regardless of what the patient's face looks like or treating cheeks to an excess. So we have to really re-examine this as providers and look at what looks natural. And natural looks like someone that you see and you don't know they've had any filler. If you look at somebody and say, oh my God, I know they've had filler, that's unnatural. That's not a good look. No one should walk around and you shouldn't be able to tell they've had filler. That's the acid test. Well, I'm going to step off my soapbox, but I just wanted to put that out there to please be careful. Please go to people who create natural results. Please go to people who educate you and people who are not afraid to say no, that we shouldn't do anymore. So thank you for listening. Follow us on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube, and if you're interested in joining the field, come join us at Aesthetic Mentor. Click on the link and we'll see you soon.